Everyone, so I'm going to show you through my new application that I've just built. So I've been working on this for like maybe just under a week, and I basically wanted an application that I could build to test out convex. So convex is something I was introduced to a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's basically just like a better version of Hassabis or Firebase. On their website they basically say that they're an open source reactive database. And it basically just means that if you want to build something fast and you're happy to do everything in TypeScript and you're happy to sort of not, you're happy to sort of pass the backend over to somebody else to manage, then this is a great alternative. It means that all of your code can basically be in one code base. You don't have to have a separate backend in, say, Node or Express or something, and then a front end in Next.js. So it's really easy to get started with, and it's really easy to develop with, and it works really, really well. I really like it. I think it's also built on top of PlanetScale, which is probably one of the best providers of MySQL and Postgres databases right now. So I think this is really promising, and I basically wanted to build a project using this. So this is what I built. I built basically a board game, a digital web app version of the board game Entropy. So Entropy is a very interesting game. It was created by Eric Solomon, a guy called Eric Solomon, a chemical engineer, in 1977, and it's been really popular at something called the Mind Sports Olympiad. So most people probably haven't heard of this. But fun fact, if you're aware of a guy called Sir Demis Hassabis, so this guy won the Nobel Prize in chemistry, I think, last year or this year. And he's also the CEO of Google DeepMind, by the way. So if you're into tech, you probably know this guy. Very impressive person. I think he was a child prodigy in chess. But anyway, he is a 5-time world champion at this very game, Entropy. It's a really simple game. It's only got a few rules, and it's really easy to play. Essentially what you do is you build, one player is trying to create palindromes, which are basically just where you have a pattern that is the same back to front. So for example, if you look at this board here, I don't know if you can see my mouse is quite small, but basically you can see that there are patterns where, for example, this one here where it goes green, red, green, red, green. Now if you flip that back to front, it would be the same. So that's a palindrome. So basically one player who's order tries to create these palindromes, and one player who's called chaos tries to make it difficult for order to build the palindromes. So essentially what happens is you have a bag of counters. So if you're playing this physically, you would have a bag of counters where there are 7 counters, and there are 7 colors, and there are 7 of each of those colored counters in the bag, and you play on a 7x7 board. So basically it starts off with chaos playing, taking one piece out of the bag. So they don't see this, by the way. So the bag is basically a random extraction from the bag, and then they decide where on the board they want to place the counter, and then order has the choice of moving that counter basically vertically or horizontally, kind of like a rook in chess, and then or they get to skip their turn, and that basically plays out until you get a board state at the very end that kind of looks like this here, where there are plenty of different, in this case, palindromes all over the board. Then these are scored in a particular way. I'm not going to go into the scoring right now. There are lots of different ways this can be scored. This is all done automatically, by the way, in the application, so you don't actually have to manually score your own game, which is one of the major drawbacks for this game, and I think is one of the reasons why it isn't as popular to play in physically. So yes, I'm going to basically show you through the board game now and what I've done so far. So I've basically taken inspiration from chess.com. So they have a really nice interface, a really nice website for playing chess real time with other people. So I wanted to basically build something that kind of looks like chess.com. So this application is currently live at entropygame.org. So you can go and you can play. The only thing is I don't have a bot to play against at the moment. So if you want to play, you basically have to play as somebody else. So you can either play as somebody else live on the platform, or you can send an invite to somebody else and you can have a game against them. It works both on desktop and mobile, so I've been able to develop this to work on both. And also, I might as well talk about the development of this. So I basically used Claude for Sonnet for the majority of the development of this. I'd say that at least 95% of this was coded with Claude for Sonnet. So basically, I give it directions, I check the code, and then I make sure it's okay, and then we move on to the next feature, the next piece of the development. And yeah, it worked really, really well. There was very few instances where I had trouble, and it also did an incredible job actually of creating the game sort of dynamics as well. So obviously there's complex scoring, there's we have to allow for people to play different moves and whatnot. So it did a really good job of taking my input of how you play the game and working with that and creating the sort of game mechanics. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the play online page. So this is basically like a staging area. So if you want to start a game or you want to play somebody else, then you come to this page and then you can initiate that. And it just gives you like what the board actually looks like. So I'll basically create an invite link and I'll paste it in here so we can open up the invite screen. And then I'm going to join the game, and it's initiated the game for us. And yeah, let's just play a few moves and you can see what this actually looks like. So I am order here, so this is chaos. So you can see that this is almost instant. It's not perfect, but it's really close. Let's just play a few moves. And I'll show you here, if you look at the score up here, this is going to change when I make this move. So the scoring's almost instant as well. So it's basically real time. You can have a real time game with somebody else, and you can see here that when we play as chaos, so the chaos person gets shown the counter, and so does the other player. You both get to see the counter. Chaos makes their move, then it jumps over to order. Order gets to play their move, or they can skip a turn. So I'll skip here, jumps back over to chaos, and you can see that in real time also the timer goes down for each player. And that's basically it. It's very simple. I'll show you another. Actually, let's put this counter here, and then I'll move this over here. So you can see here that we got more points. So this is a 3 colored palindrome, so it's 3 points, and then this is 2 points here for another palindrome. So it's 5 points in total. So I'm just going to leave this game because I think this basically shows you what is happening here. So you have this game panel here as well that outlines some of the game state for both players. And as you can see here, it works both on mobile and on desktop. So I will go back. For both of these players, I'll just exit. I do need a better way to exit the game because you basically just have to leave. And I think that might cause problems, so I need to develop that soon. There's a settings screen where you can set your username and you can set your country, or you can make yourself anonymous and update that. You can collapse the sidebar. That's quite nice. You can also go to history. So you can basically replay the match history for various players that you play against. So I'm just going to go to this one and show you what this looks like. So I can basically take any move that's been played. I can filter through all of the moves. I can play through them, or I can just let it play automatically. You can see it sort of jumps through all of the moves, or I can just pick a move and it just jumps to that, and you can see the state at that point in the game, and you can see the time at that moment in the game. And you can also jump to the second half and you can do the same thing. You can see how the game progressed. So you can get a sort of granular look at the match history for every game you play. And yeah, I don't think there's much more to it. I mean, it's reasonably simple. Like, I haven't done a lot, but I've done enough that allows you to basically play somebody else and have a game and get an ELO score as well. I forgot about that. You can set it automatically calculates the ELO score. So this is basically a score that tells you how good you are at the game. I think this is very common in chess and other games. It gives you an indication of your level. So there's that too. And is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else. Your account is basically managed by Clerk, so you can go in here and you can sign out, or you can manage your account, you can delete your account. And that's it. Yeah, it's live at entropygame.org. You can go and play now. As I said, you can't play a bot yet, so you have to play somebody else, or you have to invite somebody else and play together. I also don't have a game. You're basically not able to play offline, so you have to sign up. Ideally, what I would like is a game that is built into the browser. So basically, I could create a WebAssembly game, and that would allow me then to for people to play offline and do everything in the browser, and basically I don't have to have a server managing everything. But that's for the future. This is what it's like so far. And yeah, please give it a go. And if you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. That's it.